We are live. What's good, Josh? Man, DL Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. How y'all feeling out there? What's good? What's good, man? The week's almost over. It's a short week, guys. It was a short week. It's almost over. I don't think that's any real consolation to folks because do we even have weekends anymore, guys? Because, we're working one, maybe two full-time jobs, side hustle. You know what I mean? Like, do we, who gets the weekend anymore? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the economy and how is it really moving and how's it really going. My bad, guys. I'm sitting here there it is. Checking out my different screens. I'll pull up my phone to see what the live feed looks like. Plus, I have it up on the computer screen here as well. Just, learning the ins and outs of producing. So, like, bro, real talk. How good is it really out there, man? We're talking about, we're talking about the economy, man. Like, how good is it really? Like, what's really going on? I definitely want to talk about that today. So, I saw it on Breaking Points. You guys know I really love Breaking Points. Shout out to Saga and Crystal and their whole team over there. They talked about it today, man. It was a really good segment. I wanted you guys to see it here because, man, they hit some really good points. And I don't know if people don't have the time to look into this and think about this, or if people are just running so hard on that little treadmill trying to keep, the family together and try to, make the dollar stretch from Monday to Friday that, they just don't get an opportunity to read up on this stuff or watch up on this stuff. So we're going to show it and hopefully, it'll open some eyes out there, bro. And maybe if there's someone watching this and I'm wrong, tell me in the chat and send me some information. Send me what I'm missing, but let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed. I know folks are like, come on, what's up, Unc, man? You ain't keeping to your schedule. You all over the place. Yeah. Yeah, I'm all over the place, man. I'm just, like my schedule has shifted. There's things going on, so I just got to jump on when I can. Like when I get a moment, like maybe jump on. Today, my daughter's in band after school until late. So like, all right, I can jump on, do this, and then I can do some other stuff. I still need to make some shorts. I need to make some YouTube shorts, and I need to do some other stuff. So, my bad. I just got to jump on when I can jump on. But I'm telling you, we got to talk about the economy. I know anyone who's been watching me over the past 3 years now, I've been doing this for 3 years. I've been talking about the economy, and I'm like, yo, it's not doing that well. I don't know what's really pushing it along. Things are not good. I'm kind of like Chicken Little, like the sky's falling. People like, man, shut up, the sky's not falling. I'm telling you it is, right? I'm telling you it is. It's getting hard out here. And I think it was a big wake-up call when the news broke that Americans, especially like the poorer Americans, can't afford McDonald's. When McDonald's became a luxury, that's when people started to wake up and look. And even McDonald's are trying to do something about it. I think they've just modified their menu. I think they're offering Big Macs for like a Big Mac meal for $5, I think, or something like that. So, and then the fast food restaurants were competing with the sit-down restaurants. So you had like McDonald's competing with, BW3s and Chili's and all that kind of stuff. Fridays is going out of business. I mean, there's so many restaurants that are going under as well. Like, it's a lot going on that people don't talk about. You look at like CVS and Walgreens, they're closing up shops. Right here, we had a Fridays just right down the street. I used to go and watch football there every now and then, walking distance. They're closed. It's a lot going on. So McDonald's earnings numbers are coming in funny, like the numbers aren't right. Like it's a lot going on, bro. So I really think that the economy is suffering big time. So this was a really good segment from Breaking Points. They're talking about the economy, man. We're gonna check this out. We got Brother Mike on the building. What's good, fam? What up with you? It's like no hair hats, man. Yeah. And no recreational uses topics today. Hey, I don't know. I might come back later on tonight and talk a little bit, man. I saw something on YouTube. A guy was kind of vlogging his thing or whatever. He said he met some girl on Hinge, and he thinks that she's going to ghost him. They had set a date, and it just shows what happened. I might talk about that because anyone who does that is definitely gonna be rec use only. We got the other brother Mike on the building. What's happening, fam? What's happening? Let me show you some. There we go. Right, the economy is a reflection of the currency collapsing at an exponential rate. Yep, where innovation can no longer outpace the money printed. Thank you for that, brother. And that's true. I believe you. I'm with you on that. And we're watching. I mean, and let's keep it 100, man. Nothing really backs the U.S. dollar. It's fiat currency, bro. And the whole world is tied to the U.S. dollar. It's kind of like the biggest Ponzi scheme ever that's coming apart. No one else is buying into the U.S. dollar, which means what I mean by that is no other countries are buying U.S. debt. Again, that's not making mainstream news. There's people reporting on this stuff, y'all. People are talking about it, but it's not making mainstream news. And then, you add to it our different administrations, like Trump's administration is in now, and these tariffs and all that stuff don't work. By the way, a judge has ruled that the tariff is, the president has to stop the tariff and refund the companies who've already paid into the tariffs. That's out there. That's going to the Supreme Court. Just one of the things to throw out there that it gets kind of glossed over because there's so much going on. Like we fired on a Venezuelan ship in international waters. We killed some Venezuelan nationals. One segment of the news says that they were bad guys. They were terrorists. They were narco terrorists, this and that. The other side says, man, the law says you ain't allowed to really do that. So, no one's really talking about that. Did you guys see that Chinese military parade? Right, with all of America's, let's call them enemies. Like, India is not necessarily India has always been America's ally, but they're over there with China and Russia. And bro, that's a thing. There's a lot going on, bro. A lot going on. Brother Penny in the building was good. Yes, please like the video. Please share the video. All that good stuff, man. We just a small platform over here trying to grow. YouTube says that there's a push out there to get the smaller platforms out there, but I keep looking at my numbers, bro. I'm telling you, I don't know if I believe that. I look at smaller channels and I'm like, I see these smaller channels getting big numbers. And then I look at my channel, same stuff. I mean, the exact same topic, covering the exact same thing. And it's like, I'll just take my little 200 or 300 views and be happy, I guess. But we're going to keep doing this, man, because I just want to get the word out. And I just, I'm just really trying to just stimulate thought and get people to start thinking about these things, bro. So we're going to, we'll come back later on in the week and we'll talk about what's going on with Venezuela. We'll talk about what's going on with China, what could potentially happen with Taiwan. We'll talk about what's going on in Russia. We'll talk about, Iran, which is tied to Gaza and the whole Israel thing, bro. We'll get into all that. And just so you guys know, like, I don't believe that my political views are that extreme. I don't. Like, I think when you guys hear what I have to say, my thoughts on what's going on with the Palestinians, I know it's a big old push out there. They're like, oh, the Palestinians are good. No, they're not. Not in my opinion. At least not when I was over there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say anything nice about anyone who backs the organizations like Hamas, like who the PLO, like the people who the Muslim Brotherhood. It's so many groups over the decades, man. It's just been doing all kind of nasty stuff. So one day we'll talk about it. I'll give you guys my thoughts on what's going over there. Am I okay with, starving out children and what they're doing over there? I'm talking about what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. No, I'm not on with that part. You don't have to starve people like that, man. Just take the country. Just take the country. Do what you got to do, but don't do that. That's just too bad. But that's just my take on it. We'll get into that on another episode. But Brother Penny is like nearly $1 billion worth of subprime loans are packaged into mortgage-backed securities that contributed to the 2008 great financial crisis. Yeah. And I'm not sure what they're doing now, but bro, the commercial real estate thing, like the skyscrapers, bro, that's a real problem. That debt is sitting on someone's balance sheet. There's some banks out there, especially probably some regional banks, smaller banks. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do, man. I think we're going to be facing another wave of bank closures, bank failures, because that debt is sitting there, bro. And these corporations were hoping that the interest rates were going to drop down, to below 4%. Really, they was hoping to get below 3%, right? So they can service this debt that they have out there, just floating around that they can't really afford at 7-8%. And that's what they're going to be looking at when they have to service this debt. So, and even though the Fed is like, yeah, we're going to drop interest rates, they're not going to drop interest rates by like 4 points, right? So that debt is going to come due, and those corporations are going to walk away from it, leaving the banks holding the bag. Bro, we got some problems coming, man. We got some real problems coming. Currently, the commercial real estate sector, roughly 5.9 trillion in outstanding loans and roughly 1 billion set to mature this year. There it is right there. See, Brother Pitney, man, you are the keeper of the knowledge, man. You are the keeper of the knowledge. Don DeMarco to you. No one's talking about that. No one's talking about that. And Brother Michael, did I play the Powerball yesterday? I did not, man. I did not. When I went out, we didn't stop. My daughter and I were out. We didn't stop. I didn't play. If no one wins, will it be over $1 billion? Is it over $1 billion now? Where is that anyway? Where is the Powerball? The government might have to seize that money, man, to take care of this debt that Brother Pitney's telling us about, to take care of this outstanding commercial loan debt. He's like, I'm not saying the CRE will definitely trigger another market crash or financial crisis, but no one can deny that has been a potential to rock the boat. Facts, bro. Facts, man. Powerball's at 1.4 billion. Yeah, I think the government's going to seize that money just so they can fix and maybe stop this financial crisis within, this corporate financial crisis. And we're not even talking about the single family home thing. You guys know that Warren Buffett recently, I think what did he acquire? He a massive position in Lennar Homes, I think, and D.R. Horton. I know he bought into 2 major home builders. Were those the 2? I'm working on that as well. The other Brother Michael is saying that the debt ultimately needs to be offset by gold value bump in the global bank balance sheet to reset. Yeah, man. You're right. And gold did go up. What's gold doing today? Like gold and silver was doing really well, but I think it turned. I think it was a downturn. I've always wondered who suppresses the value of gold. Everything goes up except gold. Why is that? Why is that? The question will be, what price do we need to set it at for the cap game to clear it all off? Man, you guys know way more about this than I do. You guys, that's why I like rocking with you guys, man. Y'all are sharp. If there's a collapse in the CRE, it would send shockwaves through the financial system, man, through the whole world, bro. Through the whole world. This is it. If America catches cold, bro, the rest of the world gets a flu. Everyone's bought into the dollar. And that's why this thing with China, Russia, India. Remember BRICS? Everyone was talking about BRICS or whatever. What was it? It was It was China, it was Russia, India, South Africa, and Brazil. I knew that wasn't going to go anywhere. I knew that was like, man, come on, that's not going to go anywhere. But you're looking at China, Russia, India. They might be able to do something with that, especially if they keep America bogged down in these regional fights. And, we're wasting a lot of money, not wasting, but we're spending so much money on military stuff, even whether we're fighting or, firing our weapons or not, we're sending that money off. So I don't know, man, like definitely got to watch this thing with China, with India, and with Russia. Definitely got to watch it. And I mean, bro, I don't know. And Brother Michael Lee is saying, man, it's at $1.7 billion. We're talking about the Powerball. 770.3. If you take the large lump, that's like 770.3 million. If you take the lump sum, I would absolutely take the lump sum, bro. If I won that kind of money, first thing I would do, I would have my lawyer hire a lawyer, and I would make sure to keep my face off of it if that were the case. And that kind of money, bro, $770 million. That's insane. That's the buyout. That's it. That's what you get. And somebody will go through that money, bro. Someone will go through that. And Brother Mike, it's like derivatives suppress the metals from building from bullion banks and hedge funds during the Greater Depression. The government did the gold confiscation that bumped it from $20 to $35 to clear the bank. Yeah. Is America still holding on to that gold? Where is all that gold? And one of these days, man, I'm gonna find an expert to really break it down to me and tell me what happened. Like when Nixon took America off the gold standard, what really happened? Where was the gold? How did the different countries move the gold around? I got an idea in my head, but I don't know if it's correct. I know a lot of the countries were sending their gold over to Fort Knox, so the U.S. can hold it or whatever. And then we came off the gold standard, so it's like, did they come get their gold back? Like, I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like, no, here's around. You stupid, bro. Brother Michael Lee crazy. But yeah, man, like I'm definitely gonna do some more episodes, man, where we're just gonna have this talk and we're gonna talk about money. We're gonna talk about the US economy, the global economy. We're gonna talk about what China's trying to do, what Russia could possibly do. Russia's, I think, is in a lot of trouble. Their economy, they have no economy. Their economy is centered around, this illegal invasion, this war they started with Ukraine. That's where all their people are. That's how they're making money. If the war were to actually stop, I think Russia would begin to fall apart at the seams. But we're gonna get into all that at a later date. But let's start with this, man. This is Sagan and Crystal. This is Breaking Points, man. They're talking about the economy, and they're gonna start with a story about McDonald's CEO talking about what's going on with their sales and stuff like that, which I think is really interesting. And again, it makes sense to me. And they're gonna be talking about breakdowns between the different classes financially in America. We got Miss AKA lady in the building. What's good, sis? What's good, sis? Good to see you. So let's get into this, man. Check this out. This is really good food for thought, man. And then Brother Michael Lee wants to know if I won a Powerball, would I have another kid? No, I wouldn't. I'm keeping it 100, bro. I wouldn't. I would take a lot of that money and I would help children. Remember, we talked about this before. I would put a lot of money into bringing back the Boys and Girls Clubs, and I would, try to go into neighborhoods and try to have an organization that would give kids something to do, give them some structure, get them off the streets, give them an opportunity, like something real too, not some fluff neither, like coming in there with like ex-cons running it, like coming in there saying, hey, this is what's going to happen to you if you keep going out here chasing this fast money. This is where you're going to wind up. You're going to wind up in the system, you're going to wind up locked up or worse. I would do something like that to try to give these kids a fighting chance, because a lot of people don't realize how tough it is to be good in the hood. It's really hard, bro. It's hard, man, especially when you're sitting around there with your homies. Y'all used to be all broke together, and then one day he pulling up in exotic. He got a G-Wagon. Like, how did he do that? It's like, cuz, bro, that's street money. That's some super fast money. I don't think people realize how fast that money is. And when you can go from just struggling and watching your moms cry because she can't afford to buy any food to, all right, let me go out here and make a couple moves. I mean, you could go out here, somebody can front you some product, bro. You could turn that product, you can go from having $0 or being in the hole, and within 24 days, man, you can be up 10 grand. 10 grand. That's not even knowing what you're doing. But it's tremendous risk, and we need organizations to offset that allure in the hood. So if I won all that money, bro, I would take a good chunk of that, man. I would take 100 million or so and just put it into an organization that can come and help kids show kids like, hey, man, just fight through this. And on the other side, we'll get you set up with a nice career, or we'll show you how to start your own business, or we'll help you get a trade, something like that. Just give them an option. There's a lot of kids that get into the streets and they're like, you know what? I don't have any options anyway, bro. Worst case scenario, I'm going to get deleted. I'm not happy with my life anyway, so I'm cool with that. Let me go out here and start hustling. And that's just something we got to try to combat. So if I won that money, no, I would not have any more children. But yes, I would take a large chunk of that money to try to help our community and, try to help America. It's not just black kids, man. It's kids that go through this in the trailer parks, bro. When meth hit, when fent hit, I mean, that ravaged the poor white communities, right? It's the trailer parks, man. Appalachia that got really hit by that. So I would definitely try to do some things. There's the same thing there. Those kids got nothing to do. They just be out in the woods doing whatever. If you can get them some structure, you know what I mean? It kind of gives them a fighting chance. Doesn't mean you'll save them all, but you might save one or two. And that Bretton Woods system, yeah, man, I've read a little bit on this, but I haven't really done a deep dive. I need to, because I do want to know about the economy, bro. So I'm gonna do it. Like I said, Brother Pitt, the keeper of the knowledge, man. Look at that, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, and the Nixon was that the Nixon shock changed everything. I definitely want to read up on that. I'm going to read up on that, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's check out what Saagar and Crystal have to say about the economy, man. Let's go. Uh-oh. And here we go, my bad.
Turning now to the economy, as we said, and to where we can actually look to some truth. Unfortunately, it comes from the CEO of McDonald's, who shockingly actually dropped some truth bombs on CNBC about how divided the country is on whether you make over $100,000 or not. Let's take a listen.
Part of what we also saw was that, particularly with middle and lower income consumers, they're feeling under a lot of pressure right now. I think there's a lot of commentary about what's the state of the economy, how's it doing, and what we see is it's really kind of a two-tier economy. If you're upper income, earning over $100,000, things are good. Stock markets are near all-time highs. You're feeling, quite confident about things. You're seeing international travel, all those barometers of upper income consumers are doing quite well. What we see with middle and lower income consumers is actually a different story. It's that consumers under a lot of pressure. In our industry, traffic for lower income consumers is down double digits. And it's because people are either choosing to skip a meal. So we're seeing breakfast. People are actually skipping breakfast, or they're choosing to just eat at home. And so for our business, which has a significant group of consumers which are in that middle and lower income, we needed to step in with something like what we're doing here.
Listen to this.
I mean, two things. First of all, I watch CNBC all the time as well, bro. I think you guys should if you're not already watching it. They really break down the markets and stuff like that. And then their panel, you have one guy, a younger guy, who is definitely towards the left, multimillionaire. He's a big guy. And then there's another guy there who's definitely on the right, MAGA. Again, multimillionaire, but even the MAGA guy, there's some things that Trump does that's going on out here that he doesn't like. But for the most part, he does everything he can to support the president. Dusto's in the building. What's good, fam? I see you. Scam likely. So, but another thing I wanted to point out here, bro, everyone talks about six figures. I think what people fail to realize is the number that they're talking about is not $100,000. They always throw out that 100,000, that six figure. But you gotta understand, bro, and with a quick Google search, you guys can look this up too. Just type in a Google, how much is $100,000 worth? How much is $100,000 in 1980 worth today, right? And I just put that in there. And $100,000 in 1980 is equivalent in purchasing power to about $392,048.54. So it's basically $400,000. So six figures today would be 400,000. Right? I think a lot of people don't understand that, right? So the dollar has an average inflation rate of about 3%, a little over 3% per year between 1980 and today, producing the increase of about 292%. When you add that up, people don't understand that. Six figures. I know a lot of people who are six figures that live paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, I've seen the stats on that. There are people out there who, I'm making $100,000 a year. Bro, you one paycheck away from living in your car, right? A car that you ain't even finished paying for, by the way. So when people say six figures, like when that guy from McDonald's was talking about six figures, I bet you he meant two earners in the house making six figures, which would be $200,000 household. I bet you that's what he's talking about. He's not talking about $100,000 household. There's no way he could be talking about $100,000 household. $100,000, especially if you have a wife or a husband and y'all have one kid and a dog, bro, y'all barely making it. You're relying on credit and you're relying on your family to help you out when you hit the potholes. So when people say six figures, bro, trust me, I made six figures for my entire career. Like at 20 years, save what? At the first 8 months, I wasn't making six figures. But after that, for the rest of my 20-year plus career, I was making six figures. Living in LA, bro, it was like making $60,000 in Ohio. Not even. So you gotta understand, bro, it is rough out here. Right? Even Mr. AKA, like, yeah, 100K feels extremely normal. And it's not the biggest flex as people make it out to be. Now 130 plus is getting more comfortable. Yeah. Man, we've talked about this on this platform. I've said it a million times. I'll say it a million more times. In California, the magic number, I would tell people, like, if you're making $300,000 household, you're doing all right. If you and your wife or your significant other, if you know you guys are both making about $130,000 living in Cali, then yeah, now you got a normal life in LA. Everything's expensive in LA, but if you guys are making $130,000 a year, you can still take vacations. You have savings. You have investments. You can put your kids in the best schools. You can afford to buy property, right? 300,000. Now for an individual, you know, like man, 150, 200. You can start to do a little bit, but you're not going to be living well below your means. Now, again, take that number, and if I'm making $300,000 in Tampa, yeah, I'm gonna be doing well, really, really well. Like 200,000 in Tampa, you're gonna be doing really well. But just think about it. Before the pandemic in Tampa, you could have been chilling with 100 grand. But after everyone moved here, prices went up. It priced out the person who was just making six figures. So I just want to press that home, guys. Six figures is not a lot of money.
CEO of McDonald's, people are skipping breakfast. Now, I will say on McDonald's, it's still outrageously expensive compared to where it used to be. I don't eat McDonald's maybe more than 2 or 3 times a year. My wife gets hungry for it. She's nursing, whatever. She gets what she wants. So I go to McDonald's. The McGriddle, it cost me $9. And I tweeted about that. People made fun of me because apparently I don't use the app. No, I'm not degenerate enough to have the McDonald's app. Or to be knowledgeable enough about set deals. But in my head, as a child of the 90s, you're on a road trip and you roll up to McDonald's. How much do you think that should cost? Couple bucks? You know, at $1.99? And yet it's not just the price. What he really said there, which is important, is if you look, he said below 100,000, you're seeing a massive reduction in lower income consumers being able to go out to eat, and people are skipping breakfast. Now, I think that's hopefully they're getting enough to eat, you know, elsewhere and or trying to eat at home. But the total.
No, Saga, they're not getting enough. They're skipping that meal. And Americans aren't getting enough to eat. And we're talking about McDonald's, not even real food, right? But what he said, a McGriddle, which McGriddle is good. It has this bun, it's like maple syrup bun, and you got a sausage in there. I think they put eggs and cheese on it if you want. He's saying he's paying $9. They're in the DC area. $9 for a McGriddle? Damn. But yeah, those prices have gone up. I don't know if he bought the McGriddle meal, which was a McGriddle and maybe a coffee and a hash brown or something, or if he just bought the sandwich alone. I don't know. Maybe it was the meal. But still, $10, bro. $10 for that? You could take $10 to a grocery store, buy a package of sausage, maybe 8 sausage patties, right? You can go buy some English muffins or some buns or whatever you want to use for that, bread or whatever, some cheese. You get some cheese, you get some change back, bro. Some eggs. You get, well, maybe not the eggs. You know, maybe buy half a dozen eggs because the eggs can get up there. But you get my point. You can take that same $10 and buy enough ingredients to make chicken or sausage sandwiches all week. So I think a lot of Americans are doing that, because I know my daughter, same thing, my little girl, can we go to McDonald's and get some nuggets? Can we get some chicken nuggets? Like, well, we got nuggets in the house. We just bought some nuggets from Trader Joe's. We'll buy nuggets from, you know, wherever. But sometimes she just wants McDonald's, right? All right, so we'll go to McDonald's and we'll pull up and we'll get it. And like the 10-piece McNugget meal is like $11 or $12 or something like that. So, and we keep all the receipts, and my daughter looks at the receipts because I'm always talking money with her. And then we'll go grocery shopping. And I remember that money we spent at McDonald's, or $12, because at Trader Joe's, they have these pre-made mac and cheese, put them in the microwave deals that are really good. They're like $3, right, for the mac and cheese. They're really good, right? And my daughter loves those. And I'm like you just spent $10 on your chicken McNuggets. We could have got 3 packets of your mac and cheese, right? So that's kind of what the deal is. And actually, it would have been like $20 because I'm like, I got something too. So like, it was $20 we spent going McDonald's. We could have bought $20 worth of mac and cheese. And if I would let her, she would eat that every day. She loves it that much. You know, it's pretty good. It's kind of healthy. There's some preservatives in there, but it's better than the stuff that you get out of the grocery store. And it's not as good as if I made it myself, but still better than the McDonald's. But anyway, even my daughter sees it. She's like, wow. So now she's like, can we go to Trader Joe's? Papa, can we go to Trader Joe's? I want to buy some peaches. I want to buy some, you know, mac and cheese. I want to buy some whatever. Like, all right, we'll go to Trader Joe's. So she's starting to see it as opposed to just running McDonald's. But no one can afford Like, it's getting to the point where poor people can't afford McDonald's. This is crazy.
reality of it is that, yeah, it might be marginally cheaper on a percent basis to eat at home, but it's still really expensive to eat at home. If you're talking about a cup of coffee, we've talked here about coffee futures, Folgers, and more. It's actually exploded in price. Even if you look at the basic necessities of goods, meat in particular, protein, the price is just astounding. You can still eat cheap if you want to, but it takes a lot more effort than it used to in the past. So if you put that together, I think here is where you should listen to the CEO of McDonald's or the CEO of Walmart or these other people who have to cater to all of these customers. And now McDonald's is scrambling to try and bring back, below $5 meals and more because they can see the consumer cannot afford it. Yeah. That's the real tragedy.
Yeah, I mean, down double digits, he says, traffic from lower income consumers. I mean, that is a very significant sign. And it's not just that the prices are high, it's also that the wages are not keeping up. We covered previously, I mean, I think the two-tier economy comment is the perfect way to think about it. You've got the stock market that just keeps going up and up and up, seemingly totally divorced, and we'll talk more about what's going on there from the actual real economy, what people deal with, trying to make ends meet on a day-to-day basis. And meanwhile, especially lower quintile wages are not keeping pace with inflation. So people are struggling. They're going into deeper and deeper debt. They are very pessimistic about the future. They are holding back on any purchases that they can. They're apparently skipping breakfast so that they can make it all work in their budget. So these are dire indications of where the economy is headed right now.
Absolutely. And there is some really troubling stuff behind the scenes. And I've talked about this in particular with the stocks. I was like, man, I just don't get how with inflation, with reduction in consumer spending, tariffs, how can the market continue to go up? Well, now we have a little bit more of the story. Let's put this up here on the screen. Fantastic.
And here's the thing he's about to talk about, and I've talked about this to my friends. I've mentioned it a couple times on a couple shows when we're talking about it, bro. Corporations aren't making better products. They're not coming up with a better widget. They're not coming up with superior service, right? They're making money by cutting back on everything, especially labor. And that's what he's about to start talking about. And, I knew that without reading anything. I knew that just from being out here in these streets. And it really hit me when I went out and just found, I was like, I got to get out the house. I got to, go out and do something. I found a job working in for a rental company, Avis. I was working for them in, entry level, whatever. And I got in there and I'm looking at their operation and I'm like, bro, these people could care less about customer satisfaction. What they're trying to do is offer their product at the lowest possible price, which means they're going to fire folks, not hire folks, work short on purpose. McDonald's does the same thing. Wendy's does the same thing. That's where they're getting the money. And with stock buybacks. And that's what's keeping the stock market churning. But at the end of the day, like, that's not sustainable. I saw it with my own eyes. And it was when I saw this, I just lit up. And Brother Michael, you're right, bro. You're right, man. But people aren't going to do that, man, because people now, it's like, how much does it cost? Let me get it for the cheapest price. Let me just spend. I remember when people went out looking for cars, it used to be, what finance rate am I going to get? And what terms, how low can I get my terms? Right now is how much is my car note going to be? They don't even care about the other stuff. Dealers can just backdoor all kind of stuff in there. People don't care. I just want my payment to be under $1,200. Like, did you just say $1,200? Yeah, like people are coming out of here with cars, man. They're paying $1,200 a month for 72 months. What? You can't afford that, bro. Like, you can't afford that. Like, I mean, it's crazy. And you're right, Miss AKA lady, staying at home, cooking at home. I mean, with the prices going up, it's still expensive. Like, utility prices are going up. So like, most people, electric or gas, like that's going up. The price of goods are going up. So it's still cheaper. It's cheaper and healthier to cook at home. But, if McDonald's runs a deal where it's 2 Big Macs for $2, they're going to run out and buy the Big Macs and just be unhealthy, man. It's crazy. But let's check this out.
Fantastic piece by the Wall Street Journal. Behind this season's bumper earnings, job cuts, price hikes, glum workers. Quote, consumer spending is not driving company profits as much as reducing expenses, improving efficiency. That could be a problem. They say American companies are once again beating profit expectations, but they're not doing it by banking on blockbuster consumer spending. Instead, the latest batch of quarterly earnings gets a lift from managers who are squeezing out costs, boosting productivity, turning to new technologies, all of whom have said they're holding down hiring, often while finding new ways to get employees to work more efficiently, aka work more.
Yep.
And are raising prices when they can. The processes are, quote, human light now. That is from one chief financial officer last month, telling investors about the initiative that includes automation upgrades, global logistics, say higher profit margins, despite a nearly 8% drop in revenue, even though there is a prolonged freight recession. How do you do that? You raise your prices. And so, yeah, the companies are doing fine. The investors in the stocks are doing great because that's what they demand. The number has to go up. It literally must. It's an American contract. It's like baked into our blood at this point. But what does it mean for all of you? You're paying more. You are working more hours for less pay. You are potentially not going to get a raise. You may even get a price cut, and then you'll be lucky to actually work, and continue in your job. Put that together, and it just makes a lot more sense about how exactly the McDonald's CEO with the straight face can talk about, oh, well, we have all of this traffic down, et cetera, and all of that. But then if you look at the way that they continue to juice their profit, it will be the $5 stuff and maintaining sales there, while also, I guess, taking advantage of idiots like me who apparently roll up to the window and pay $9.
Pay full price.
Yeah.
Which I do too, because I'm not going to get a McDonald's app, even though my daughter likes to go there. I'm not getting a McDonald's app. And that's the thing right there. If you go to McDonald's and you use the McDonald's app, you're going to get a deal. You're going to get a discount. You're going to get a percentage off of whatever you're buying. But if you just roll up to McDonald's like, hey, I just want to get a cheeseburger, fries, and a soda, you're going to pay full price, over full price. They up the prices for the people who are not on the app, and they lower the prices for the people on the app. You know what I mean? We talk about psyops, man. They just programming people to do things a certain way. And in the chat, man, you guys really need to be checking out what Michael was putting in the chat there. He is dropping some knowledge, man. Don DeMarco to you, man. He's dropping some dimes on how this shit works. Right? And even Miss AKA lady's talking like she grows vegetables in her garden, and so she's offsetting the cost of the market and all that, the grocery market, but she's still paying more. It's like these costs are going to continue to rise, and it's not sustainable. The point that Saagar was making about going to these corporations, bro, because I hadn't worked in the private sector and forever, bro. Last time I had a job in the private sector was before this Avis thing. It was 1997, because I got hired by the FAA in 1998. Bro, what I'm noticing out here in the corporate world, it is a race to the bottom. You can forget about going in there and working hard and expecting someone notice you and pay you more money to keep because you're quality. That's not going on, bro. What I noticed is you go into these corporations, it could be any business, any corporation, they're going to allow you to work yourself to the bone thinking you're going to get ahead. They have no intention of doing it. I don't think they're allowed to do it. So what happens, right? People stop trying. They stop trying. Like with someone like me, I can't do something half-ass. If I'm going to do it half-ass, I'm just going to leave. I'm not going to do it. If it's not worth doing right, it's not worth doing at all. That's how I was raised, and that's how I move in everything I do. Like when I do this, I do it to the best of my ability. When I'm out promoting comedy, when I'm out, coaching folks, when I'm out doing consulting work, I'm giving 100%. If I can't give 100% because I don't like the person or I don't like the project, and I won't take the job. Right. And the thing about the pay, I went in there and I'm like, I'm just looking for something part-time. These are the hours that I can work. I was very restrictive when I came in there. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm not trying to do anything else. I get in there and they were like, hey, can you work this? Can you do that? Like, sure, I can help. I could do that. I could do that. Before you know it, but I'm working 40 plus hours a week. And they were paying you overtime and stuff like that, but it still was no money. $13 an hour is nothing, right? So I'm working all these hours, and I would think like, well, maybe they're gonna offer me some sort of raise, like, or if they can't pay me money, maybe they'll offer me some sort of perk. Nothing. And then I had one of the middle managers, one of the guys he's just upset with his own life choices, comes up to me one day and starts talking to me about some stuff, and we get into it. And the first thing he goes to, well, I'll just send you home. I'm like, what? We're gonna send me home? we work under miserable conditions. Like you're on your feet, you're in a garage. There's, the cars are running all the time. So you get this film on your skin, right? It's hot. This is Florida. You're going to threaten to send me home, man. You know what? I'll make it easier for you, homie. I'm leaving. I ain't coming back. Bye. Deuces. And he's just stuck on stupid. And in his mind, he couldn't believe that I left. He was like, well, we're giving him all these hours. Like, bro, that ain't no money. Like, I'm not here for the money. Right? I'm here to learn and to do better and to grow. And these corporations will stifle your growth. And I saw that firsthand, bro. Firsthand. They had all these people that got hired in, and they just systematically began firing them, each just letting them go, not giving them hours, whatever, letting them go until they got down to the numbers that they wanted. So you have one person who's working a plan, like, we got some good employees, man, let's keep these people happy. And then you have some idiot like this dude walks up and says something stupid, not realizing, like, bro, these people ain't trying to be here. And did they backfill? No. And what they're waiting on technology, which they had, or they're in the middle of this technology shift where they had a new system that would allow them to reduce their labor by like 50%. They were able to consolidate the responsibilities between two different types of employees. You had people who were like driving cars around. That's all they did was move cars from spot to spot. And then you had guys who would check the cars, make sure the cars were good and safe, and then they can get to the people and input the information into the system. Well, they changed the system. The drivers can do that. The drivers would just input the information into the system. Now, the drivers didn't check for cleanliness. They didn't check for like odors. The car was good as other people checking for safety. So they were like, all right, that's good enough. We'll do this. So we can get rid of all these people that we had hired to handle the customer service aspect and just hire these people to just kind of be like drones and, scan this and boom. And that's what they were doing. And they were happy to do it. And I watched the customers were complaining all the time. Stuff was messed up. This isn't the type car that I was guaranteed. Like, well, it's that kind of car or the equivalent. This car is dirty. This car, there's no gas in it. This car has a flat tire. This car, has check engine light on, which was the job that they hired the people like me to do, to check all those things. If you see something like that, then don't have this vehicle out for rental. You have to, mark the vehicle and have it go to maintenance. They didn't care. And when they gave someone a bad car, what did they do? We'll just upgrade you, or we'll knock off 60% of your bill. And the people were like, oh, okay. They're like, okay. So it's not about customer service. It's not about, providing superior service. It's about getting rid of workers. This is what he's talking about, cutting back on hours. And you have people who need these jobs. I don't even understand how people can survive on $13 an hour. $13 an hour at maybe 30 hours, 35 hours a week. How do you survive on that? And then it clicked. They got another job. They're doing this, and then they're doing something else, and then maybe they're driving Uber in between. And this is how people are getting from week to week. It is crazy out here.
Paper and McGriddle.
Don't download the app.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot that's going on in this article. I mean, first of all, AI has got to be a part of this, as companies are increasingly trying to, instead of, hiring, when we're talking about white collar workforces, hiring those new college grads, whose, by the way, unemployment rate has really skyrocketed and is quite high at this point. Rather than hiring those new college grads, they'll, use AI and force their existing workforce to work more to avoid building out their workforce and to save costs that way. You have them, what's called taking price. So using the excuse of tariffs, inflation, and also genuinely, facing higher costs in certain regards, they're using that to hike prices even beyond what is required. And then the other thing they talk about in here is the financial engineering that's going on too. Yeah. So share buybacks, they say, have helped put a shine on profits. Reducing the number of shares outstanding increases companies' earnings per share numbers mechanically, regardless of operating results. Overall, LSEG data indicates that repurchases added about 1.3 percentage points to the S&P 500's gains in the second quarter. So some of this is just, financial engineering, basically like smoke and mirrors sort of accounting tricks to get things to look better than they actually are. So that's a piece of it as well. But if you look through this article, they have a chart in there that's pretty stunning where they look at consumer spending, consumer purchases, and then they take out inflation, they take out the price increases. And the line, if you don't take them out, then the line of consumer spending, oh, it's going up and people must be doing okay. If you take that out, it's flat since 2021. So, I mean, that tells you a lot right there about how, how fake a lot of the, the profits that are being generated here by these companies and how little bearing they have on what is actually going on with your average consumer out there.
Yeah, and again,
I mean, and those numbers aren't fake. They're just doing what they could do to make the balance sheet look good so they can borrow some more money. In the chat, Brother Michael was talking about that. Everyone is worried. It's about debt. It's not about profit and, doing good and investing. It's about debt. It's musical cheers. And I'm telling you, bro, when this next wave of bank closures happen, man, what are we going to do? I don't know. We got Brother Mandrell in the building. What's good, Mandrell? Yeah, $13 an hour, bro. Like, you bum. But it's, and another reason I do that too, man, like I've been talking to folks, bro, and it's, they'll tell me what's going on out there. And I'm like, man, I don't know if I believe that. Bro, it's true. And this is Florida. $13 an hour minimum wage in Florida is going up. This month, I think September, it was supposed to go up to $14. So I think now in Florida, the minimum wage is now $14. And then next year it goes up to $15. They passed some law, I think, a couple years back. But still, even in Tampa, you can't live on that. You cannot live on that. You're right. The dude thought I needed that job. That's another thing, too. Y'all want to talk about bullying. Like, these people in corporate America, bro, they really talk down to you like you were lower class. I was looking at the dude, man. Like I said, we got into it, and he actually got afraid of me. He was taking steps back, and I wasn't even mad like that. I wasn't going to snatch him. It was way too many police and cameras around. I wasn't going to do that. But you could tell someone that probably beat him up recently. Someone beat him up recently enough to know that I need to get back, because he's saying all this stuff, but he's backing up. And I kept stepping towards him. He kept backing up. It was hilarious. But he kept wanting to talk his shit. And at one point I told him, like, bro, you a little man. Like, you a little person. Like, I mean, he wasn't like a little person. He was, average height. He's probably like 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in there. He's shorter than me. I'm 6 feet. But I'm like, you're a little person, bro. You got a little person mentality. You need to understand that this is no money, bro. Like, minimum wage equals minimum effort. Y'all got me here because I'm willing to work with y'all. I'm just bored. I want to do something. And I was like, bro, they asked me to be here now. I'm not even supposed to be here now. They're asking me to be here now because they had just let someone go and they needed some coverage, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, now you got to explain to your boss why there's no one here to do this job at all, because I'm leaving. And the guy that worked the earlier shift, he's leaving. Can't ask. He's gone. He ain't coming back. So now you got people who aren't bought in. So now you can't say, hey, Billy, can you come in and help us out? We're short. Billy's going to say, go fuck yourself. He doesn't care, because at minimum wage, bro, he already knows you don't care about him. You got to have some sort of buy-in. So, Mandrell, you're right. The guy couldn't believe that I was like, I don't need this. Like, I don't need this. I'm doing this to stay in shape. And I lost a lot of weight, y'all. I was drinking so much water, walking around that hot garage. I lost a lot of weight. And I was starting to shape up a little bit, man. A couple push-ups, man, a couple crunches. I was starting to look pretty good. But you cannot live on $13 an hour, bro. And that is a fact, man. And they're going to talk about later on in this segment, they're going to talk about the African-American community and how this whole thing affects us. And they are not wrong. You know what I mean? They are not wrong. And there's no more quality of life, bro. I'm telling you, Americans in this country, bro, it's like what Andrew Tate said, like him or hate him. He was right. It's right now, it's all about the have-nots and the have-yachts, right? And if you ain't got a boat, you know what team you on. That's how big the wealth gap is. There's a huge wealth gap out there, guys. And I would say today the cutoff is probably around the 130 range. Household, $130,000, $200,000. You're kind of there, like you're gonna be okay a little bit, but that gap, give it 2 more years, bro. Give it 2 more years, you probably be looking at 400,000. Like if you ain't making 400,000, bro, you broke. I think we're getting there.
this is why this is the Biden story. Everyone understood that under Biden.
Yeah, that's right.
The S&P was up by like 60% over the entire course. Were you 60% better off?
No.
If you were invested, yeah. If you were buying stuff, no. If you're buying steak at Costco, yeah, good luck. All right. To go ahead and, what a lot of people have done, if you really want to feel truly crazy, go into your Amazon cart and scroll all the way back to 2020 and go look at what you were paying for basics and then compare it to today. You can do that with Walmart. If you use Walmart or any of these other places, you can even look at your credit card bill broadly and look at, I use like tracking. I know exactly how much I pay for like at the grocery store, for example. You can compare based on 5 years ago to today. And, just general, keep in mind, it is astounding. Sometimes it's like 40 or 50% higher, depending on the number of goods. You're also showing, stuff is showing up in all kinds of the wrong places. So both the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal just wrote stories about how Black Americans in particular seem to be struggling right now. Let's put this up here on the screen.
He's about to talk about Black Americans. This is a good part. But before he gets into it, for you guys who live in big cities, mid-sized and large cities, like when I was living in LA, San Diego, Miami, and even here in Tampa, when it comes to grocery shopping, guys, look at those foreign grocery stores. Because when I would go shopping at Kroger's or Ralph's or Publix, which were, like the big grocery stores and chains in those cities, maybe you're somewhere in the South where Piggly Wiggly might be the big one. Look at those Latino or other grocery stores. Like you might, it might be La something or La something or L something grocery store. Go in there, bro. Do some shopping in there. Look at those flyers that they send in your mail, those mailers or whatever. Look at those things, bro. There are huge price differences, man, especially for like your ground beef and for your steak and for your chicken and stuff like that. Man, look at that. You might be able to save yourself a good chunk of money by going in there and getting you some shopping because they got some great deals, right? Look at that stuff, man. Try some of those. To us, it's like foreign brands, but to them, that's how they shop. Do that. When I was in LA, bro, you can go into Korean stores. Same thing. There are better deals out there in those communities, man. Look into those stores. But because Kroger and Ralph's and Publix, bro, they ain't really trying to take care of you like that. Their prices, you might get a deal over here. You might get your favorite water might be buy 10 for $1. You know what I mean? $1 each for 10, but they're raising the price of everything else. So just look at your options, guys. But yeah, let's listen to what they have to say about the African-American community and struggling in this economy.
Both of them, what they say on the New York Times side is that if you look at this, it's largely a cuts to federal agencies. And that's also an important part of the story because the federal government is the largest employer in the United States. And they said that this is one of the most staggering losses of employment that Black women have ever seen in our current economy. On the Wall Street Journal side, they say unemployment may remain historically low, but unemployment for Black Americans is some 7.2%. Probably, again, attributable, it seems, to like federal agencies. But the point just broadly is for Trump, one of the things that he can hang his hat on when he got elected was what? I got historic margins with Black people. I got historic margins with Hispanic people. And, if you talk to a lot of those guys or gals, guys and in some cases gals, what did they say that they voted for Trump on? The economy. They were fed up with Biden. And they didn't feel like Kamala was going to do anything about it. So, look, pocketbook and all of that, sometimes it's number one, not always. But I do think it can be very disillusioning broadly when you look at all that. And the general experience of being an American consumer today, in my opinion, is hellish. Like, it's just deeply expensive. Everything is pay for play, no matter what.
Yeah, you feel exploited at every time.
You really are. I mean, it's like you go out to a restaurant. I don't drink alcohol. You go out to a restaurant, and it's not even particularly good. And it's like $60, $70. And you're like, what am I paying for? Like, again, in my head, it should be $35. Should have just stayed at home, Same with the drive-through, just everything. Apparently, Disney World, I talked about this. You go there, they charge you at every step.
All the subscriptions, now, if you're a big NBA fan and you want to watch all the games.
Good luck.
Yeah, you have to buy like freaking 7 different streaming packages in order to pull it off. So like this deal we thought we were getting with the cord cutting and cable going away, now we're just getting screwed. Now every company out there can nickel and dime you, or much more than that, frankly, to death. So yeah, it feels the level of sort of pillaging and exploitation has been through the roof. It's been absolutely insane. And just to go back to what we're saying about Black work.
And real quick, you guys remember, you old folks out there, do y'all remember to watch any sport, all you had to do was turn on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, and it was right there. You can watch all the basketball you want. You can watch all the football, baseball, all the games were on. All the games were on. Now, they're right, man. You need streaming packages, bro. You need, you gotta get YouTube TV if you want to watch these sport like football, especially. They run these packages or whatever, bro. You're looking at paying $200-$300, maybe more, just during football season so you can watch these sports. You had the same thing. I remember, I remember thinking that, you're gonna get rid of these cable networks. But even before cable, man, it was just you had the network channels. You had ABC, NBC, CBS, right? You had Fox. Then you had like your public broadcaster. That was enough. That was enough, bro. You can watch all your cartoons. You can watch your documentaries. You know what I mean? You can watch whatever, hot TV shows are on there, and you can watch the games. But now, bro, who has the money to pay for that? And people wonder, like, man, all right, well, got to get rid of my Amazon Prime. Like, now you need your Prime because you want to get your packages. All right, well, I guess I get rid of Hulu, get rid of Disney, right? I'm going to keep Netflix. Then it's like, well, how am I going to watch the games? Like, well, I guess I can go to the bar, right? It's so many, it's crazy, bro. And again, the have-nots, have-yachts. Sager was just talking about, man, $60 for a meal for himself, bro. Like, bro, if you're going to a nice restaurant to have yachts, people, they're paying $100, $125 each for a meal. It's great service, great meal, but that's what they're paying. About $100, right? I mean, without alcohol. Right, that's 3 courses, whatever, dessert and all that. You got your appetizers, your main course, you got your dessert, whatever you drink in, lemonade or whatever, water. But then, of course, when you add the alcohol to it, so like I said, you get 4 people to go to a nice restaurant, bro. You're looking at $800 to $1,000 for that meal. And Sager's like $60. It should be $35. Like, bro, Sager ain't never coming outside.
Black workers are frequently, the reason it's an important statistic, obviously, is because we want people to have jobs. They also tend to be canary in the coal mine for the economy because historically, unfortunately, you have Black people higher represented in low wage, lower skill employment. And so you have.
I'm offended. Cancel Black and Breaking Points. No, I'm kidding. She's telling the truth. I'm just trying to make a joke here, bro. But you see, she's nervous saying that Black people ain't making a lot of money. No, we ain't making a lot of money. It's hard being Black in America.
That dynamic, and then you also have the American government, the federal government has been, helped to build out the American Black middle class, and that is nowhere is more evident than in and around DC.
Yes.
And so when you have Doge coming in and just wantonly slashing random government positions, not saving any money, by the way, just making everything worse and kicking people out of a job, you can see the effects of that showing up in the Black unemployment rate. And I'm sure that is especially pronounced right here in this region.
Absolutely. To your point, I don't know.
She's absolutely right, man. I know so many people, because I come from government. I know so many people who have either taken that fork in the road money that they offered through Doge, and I think September is the last month that they were getting paid from the government, and now they're officially unemployed. So I think that the end of this month, the unemployment numbers are really going to spike. And then there are people who didn't take that fork in the road who have gotten laid off. So that, man, y'all got laid off. So same thing. Here it is. You about to lose your job in September and you ain't get nothing for it. So yeah, those did mess up. And who did that affect? Mostly our community, the Black community. That's who it affected. And these are people who on average were making about $140,000 a year. Like, it is going to be really hard to absorb that. And these folks aren't able to find jobs, certainly not a job paying what they were making. Right. So they're going into a very, very competitive private sector where college kids straight out of school can't even find a job. These people have the upper hand on the college kids because they have experience, but they're not going to get anywhere near what they were making. They're probably looking at up to maybe a 50% pay cut. That's crazy. And I know people like, man, come on, man, you exaggerating. I'm like, nah, man, those jobs, you'll go from making $140,000 a year to making maybe $65,000. And you'll be doing the same job with a higher workload if you can find that. Now, there's some people out there who are like, I know folks who are like, I got a plan, bro. Take this money, and then when we get to the end and it's officially over, I'm out. Right? And you can do that, like taking an early retirement. I got pension coming in, bro, I'm gone. I'm about to go live over here, go back to live over there. Like, again, as soon as my daughter graduates, y'all, I'm looking at Peru. I got a friend whose people are from Peru, And she was telling me like, oh, let me tell you about the pitfalls over there. But nah, you know, you're going to live good. Dollar goes a long way over there. So, you know, so long as the American government stays together, you know what I mean? I think I'll be right. Don 007's in the building. What's good, fam? He's like, nah, bro, in the hood, it's internet and that program on the Fire Stick to watch whatever you want. Yeah. You right about that, man. Just don't get caught. Didn't some dude get locked up because he was selling those Fire Sticks or whatever? A social media guy, man, his name had a car name in it, big fat dude. I want to say out of New Jersey or something like that. But yeah, he caught a case. Because he was out there selling Fire Sticks, man. The feds came and raided his house and everything, man. So he had to sit down and do some time. But you're right. That's the way to do it.
Do you know what NFL Red Zone is? I know that a lot of my friends are not taking this well. Well, anyway, I'm sure a lot of our bro audience does. Now, I think you pay for it. It's like to be able to watch all the games or something, whatever. But the point, they're going to have commercials. So you pay for it and you have to watch commercials. That's how everything works now. Everything
out
or, you know, it's like Hulu. It's like, oh, you could pay $7.99 to watch with ads. Or you can pay $14.99 to watch with like $14.99 for like a show that you might watch once a year. And then
yo, that happened. I don't use my Prime. I don't watch a lot of my Amazon Prime, right? I paid to not have commercials. Don't you know they raised that joint up? So I get commercials now. I'll try to watch something like, oh, you're going to get limited commercial interruption. Like, whoa, I paid to not have commercials, y'all. What the hell? Oh, if you want no commercials, you got to pay more. I think it was like $5 more. I was like, that's it. I stopped. I barely watch Prime, bro. I go over there and watch some football because they got a couple football games now. I go over there and watch football now.
Oh, you got to have Netflix too. And then, you have to have Disney Plus. I just had a kid. Apparently got to have Disney Plus. Well, if you're going to have Disney Plus, you might as well have the Disney Plus version with no ads because then the kids will get angry. It's just, it never ends. It's everything. Everything is subscription. Everything is pay for play. And even what you're paying for is not even particularly good.
It's like video games. It's the same thing.
I know, I've heard that.
It's like,
like Roblox.
You may pay on the front end or you may not pay on the front end, to download this game. But then if you want to do this thing in the game, want to rise to this level in the game, then you got to buy the Robux. You got to do this.
It's like
it's crazy.
You can play for it or you could pay to like get around. I think it's out for, again, I don't know.
I mean, it varies per game, but if you are willing to shell out the dollars, then you're going to advance more in the game and participate in the full experience or whatever. It's, I mean, it's just at every turn. And, not to be all like back in my day, but back in my day, you bought the game and that was it. That was the end of the story.
Well, they could never have envisioned.
And bro, real quick, y'all know, remember my daughter got in trouble years back? It was this shit right here was the game. It was the game. It was the level went up. And she wound up spending $10,000. And the only reason we caught it is because my credit union was looking at it like, this doesn't look right. They thought it was fraudulent, but it went from a couple dollars here, $20 here, $100 there, and all of a sudden it just shot up. $50, $100, $300, $400, $500, $75. It shot up. And by the time we got a hold of it, it was $10,000. And luckily, half of that I was able to get back. I was able to get $5,000 back, but the other $5,000 I couldn't get back. And that was on one of those video games. And we had it set up where there was parental blocks between my daughter and the car. This is why I don't like iPhones. I really don't like iPhones. I think there's going to come a time when I'm going to get rid of this iPhone. I don't like them. The biggest thing I don't like about iPhone is they force you to have a card on there. And then people are like, oh, you can use different modes of payment. But I didn't know that originally. So we had it set up to where we had a family member, because I didn't have an iPhone at the time. My daughter had one. We just got her one. So we had a family member that we could put in there for the parental block. Well, there were some changes with our accounts, and our family member, that protection, that block got removed. So my daughter's sitting there, credit card on the game and, on her account. And she's just sitting there like, oh, she tried something, $1 here, $5 there, $10 there. Oh, it's working. $50, $100. Oh, it's working. And she just kept doing it. And it was the video game. And yeah, I was mad at her, but she's a child, but those games are designed to do that. Those games are designed to extract money out of grown-ups. The kid doesn't stand a chance. All the dopamine hits and all the lights and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, she learned her lesson. I learned a lesson, but she learned a lesson. And, she was a kid. I was mad. I was really upset, but, she didn't get punished other than I took the phone, and she didn't have a phone for a long time. And it wasn't until her mother I went and bought her just a regular flip phone, with nothing, no smartphone, no nothing. And then her mother wound up buying her a smartphone. And initially I was going to say, tell your mother to get you a package with that too. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you could get on your mother's, you know, bill or whatever. But I told my daughter, like, don't do anything like that again. And you can stay on it. And true to her word, she hasn't messed up again. But that was $10,000, y'all, for a game. Last good man in Jersey's in the building. What's good, fam? $10,000 trying to level up on a video game. And so Crystal is right. You could, whatever you pay, they'll level you up. But again, back in our day, you had to master the game. You just had to keep playing until you finally mastered the game. It wasn't no cheat codes. Man, that's one of the downfalls of America.
They would have done it if they could have. They just didn't have the ability
didn't have the
to
tech.
do so and to milk people for as much money as possible. So I don't know. I really, sometimes when I look at the average prices and then I look at the average income, I do not understand how people make it at all. Like, period. Just the monthly nut, the absolute basics. I'm like, do you have any money left at all?
Nope.
And then no, you know, you look at the credit card numbers and all that. I'm like, yeah, that's the only way that any of it makes sense. By the way, some breaking news just came across the wire.
Yeah, he gave some news that was wrong. He had to go back and clarify it, so I'm not even going to play that part. But, man, you know, shout out to Breaking Points. Don DeMarco to Breaking Points. Don DeMarco. Yo, guys, we got to look at what's going on, man. The economy is not strong. I don't know why people believe the economy is strong. And then when you talk about the economy, people like to point to housing. Have y'all seen what's going on with housing right now? Have you guys seen it? If you haven't, look at what's going on in Florida. Look at what's going on in the South. Look at what's going on in California, right? Especially when look at what's going on those Gulf states, you know, like Texas, Louisiana, Alabama. You know what I mean? Look at what's going on there, bro. And the insurance thing, I'm telling you, bro, we are one medium storm here in Tampa. We are one medium storm away from destroying the whole housing market, because no one can get insurance. Insurance has been going up. It's been going up like crazy, right? The condo market destroyed with some moves that the state government made. Yeah, people are getting hit with assessments down here in the Florida area, bro. We're talking about, I've heard assessments as high as 6 figures plus that you got to pay in the next 90 days, every person in the unit. So, you know, every person in the complex or whatever on the property. So people are being forced to walk away from their condos. You can't insure them, right? You can't buy them, because who's going to buy them when there's an outstanding assessment of 6 figures plus? So prices, of course, are just going that way, right? This is where we are. This is where we are. And the bottom line is Americans aren't making enough money, bro. And the more and more people are losing their jobs, and more people are losing hours. Those people are hourly. And those people who are working like salary jobs, they're working more and more and more. They're going to burn out. They're going to burn out, bro. It's here. It's not even coming anymore, bro. It's here. It's here. So how do we fix it, man? Be smart with your money. Figure out ways to save. You know, when it gets really bad, make sure you have a plan. Like, all right, we're doing okay now, but you know, if the husband or wife loses their job, this is what we're gonna do. Like, get out of your credit card debt as best you can. Like, try to figure out how you can get your credit cards paid off. There's so many people tied to their credit cards. It's really hard. And then when it gets to that point where you just can't afford to pay stuff anymore, already have your plan in your mind. Like, okay, you know, I'm going to stop paying this. You're going to take hits to your credit, all right? You're going to start being late on stuff. You know, you're going to be paying less than the minimum on stuff. That's going to happen. So just start to plan it out. Like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. These are the steps I'm going to take. And then hopefully that'll buy me enough time to catch up. And if I don't, you know, there's always bankruptcy. But have your plan. Have your plan. Don't get yourself in a situation where you can't afford your home. It's a lot of foreclosures going up. Foreclosures throughout the Southeast is getting crazy. It's a lot of foreclosures. There's a sister out there, I think her name is Ashley. We're going to do a show on her because she's the person who actually stands on the courtroom steps and does the auction when they auction off these properties. You know, these people going to foreclosure. So just instead of burying your head in the sand when things get bad, come up with your plan. Like, this is my contingency. This is what I'm going to do. This credit card, you know, is going to be the one I'm gonna stop paying first, and then I'm gonna try to keep this credit card open. I'm gonna lose those 2 credit cards over there, but I'm gonna try to keep this one here. Then you work with the credit card companies, like, hey, I'm not making as much money. Can you work with me? They'll work with you. Figure out, okay, put yourself on a payment plan. Don't use those cards anymore. If you're out there hustling, be careful with Uber. Be careful with that, bro. If you're driving your car, because that's gonna run your maintenance costs up. So, you know, the money you're making on Uber, you know, you might think that was cool because I get cash right here, but it's gonna hurt you on the back end possibly, because now you're putting more miles on your vehicle. You're gonna need brakes. You're gonna need oil changes. You're gonna need tires. You know, you might get some bad customer in there in your car, and they might mess the car up, you know, go crazy, start bashing out the windows. You just never know. So be careful with that. But if, you know, you got to do what you got to do. If you got to do Uber, you got to do Uber. You know, just come up with a plan. Sit down. Do it now before it gets bad. Have your contingency plan set up. And if it doesn't, you know, if it doesn't get bad for you, fine. You got a plan you never had to activate. That's great. But if it does go bad on you, you know what you're going to do, and that's going to help with your peace of mind. The worst thing, and I've been there, bro, the worst thing about losing everything, the worst thing about going through that is not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring, losing sleep, being stressed out. Bro, it makes you make bad decisions. You're walking around on edge, and then someone says something to you, you know, you don't like it. Next thing you know, you in some sort of confrontation, which could escalate. Bro, it's just, when I see people who lose it, you know, on the streets, you hear like, oh, there was some small confrontation. They started screaming at each other. Next thing you know, it was pop, pop, pop. It's like, all right, someone's going to prison now. You thought your problems were bad before. You know, add prison to the list. You want to talk about a straw that's going to break the camel's back. You're going to prison now. So if you have a plan, at least you have a plan, so you're not going to be as stressed. All right, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm going to do. This is how we're going to handle that. You know, if you're younger and like you're about to lose your job, or you think you're going to lose your job, or possibly like you're on a chopping block, if you can get out of your apartment and go live with family, do it. Do it. That's your biggest expense right there. Do it. Probably spending at least $2,000 a month on rent. Get out of that. If you can get out of that, if you're spending $2,000, maybe $1,500 or whatever, $1,300, $1,200, doesn't matter. If you can get out of that lease, go home. Save that money. You could take somebody, hey, you know, work out a deal with mom and dad or your aunt, uncles, or whoever, brother, sister, and like, look, I'll buy all the groceries for the family, for the house, if I could stay here. You know what I mean? Whatever. It's like, okay, cool. That's going to help them out. Consolidate. Start saving that money. Start paying off everything, right? Get down to zero. At least you got down to zero. All right, now you cool. Now you cool. And then wait, there's going to be blood in the streets. On the other side of this, there's going to be some buying opportunities out there. So educate yourself, get ready, start seeing what's out there. It's going to be some buying opportunities. So if you can position yourself to where, okay, my credit's good, I got some cash reserves here, I'm living at home, I didn't get fired, I still got the job, I'm went out, got me a second job, I'm stacking up some bread, you know, I might be able to get me a distressed property, or I might be able to get me a brand new property that the home builder couldn't sell, right? When this gets bad. Yeah, so that's an opportunity. When there's blood in the streets, man, there are opportunities. You're going to be able to make some money, but you got to be prepared for it, right? So that's all I got to say about that, man. The economy is not good, guys. The economy is not good. Just people out here saying the economy is great and all this, man, no, they're not being honest, right? And the worst is yet to come. We are just now getting into this storm, and it's going to get bad, guys. It's going to get bad, right? And we hear people talking about 6 figures. Remember, if you're making 6 figures, you're good. No, if you're making $400,000 a year, which is 6 figures, you're good, right? Remember, the 6 figures they're talking about, 6 figures in 1980, $100,000 in 1980 will be the equivalent to $400,000 today. So if you're not making $400,000, then you're not the person they're talking about that's doing good, making 6 figures, all right? $100,000 is not it anymore. It's not it. $100,000, man. You might be maybe three paychecks away from losing everything if you ain't doing your stuff right. So that's all I got, man. I'm glad you guys came and checked me out, man. And good to see Last Good Man in Jersey. I ain't seen you in a minute, bro. Probably been off in the Philippines somewhere. Miss AKA lady was in the house. You know what I mean? We got Dusto in the building, man. Mandrell in the building. We got both the brother Michaels and the brother Pitney, you know what I mean? Don 007, man, appreciate y'all, man. The other brother, like I said, both the brother Michaels were here. So we're definitely gonna, I'm gonna try to do these early shows and like talk about finance and politics and stuff like that a little bit. And yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You know, definitely like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Send this to somebody. You know, subscribe over there in Breaking Points. Check out what they're doing over there, man. I really like that. They're independent news, man. I really like what they're doing. They just give you food for thought. They give you a perspective you're not going to see in the mainstream media, which I think is good. And continue to read. Continue to read, man. Just, you know, if you see, this last thing I want to say, definitely continue to read. But the last thing I want to say, as the economy continues to worsen, right, crime is going to go up. Petty crime is going to go up. You guys are probably already seeing it. How many of y'all done got these these group text messages talking about we got a job for you, working from home, don't have to do nothing, it's really great. Y'all know that's a scam. That's a scam. Don't fall for it. If it sounds too good to be true, it ain't true. You know what I mean? They lying to you. So there's scams out there, guys. Be careful. If you're on Telegram, there's so many people just putting you in these groups trying to sell you crypto and all this kind of stuff, man. Report them, block them. Don't fall for these scams, especially when you start getting into trouble financially. Like when you need money, that's what they're waiting on. The money trap at the ATM machines. If you guys seen that, be careful with the money trap scam. These people are putting devices on the ATM machine. So when you go to get your money out the ATM machine, the money comes out, but you don't see it. Like, where's the money? What's going on? Someone's probably put one of those little trap doors on the ATM machine so the money gets stuck inside of there, and they're probably watching you. So you try to get your little $20 out, you know, get your little $200 out or whatever. You're thinking, oh, something wrong with the ATM. I'm just going to, you know, call a company, call the ATM or call a bank or whatever. Hey, my money got stuck. You drive off, the criminal walks up, takes the little trap thing off, and they take your money out, right? So be careful, guys. Be careful with these ATMs. Be careful getting big chunks of money out the bank. There's people in the bank watching you. If you go into the bank, you know, I used to do this a lot, right? I haven't been doing it that much anymore, but there was a time a couple years ago when things were going really, really well. It was nothing for me to go into the bank and grab a few $1,000s. There are people in the bank watching you, and they'll follow you. They'll follow you home, or they'll follow you. Hopefully you go to the gas station or you go into a store or something, and people got the money in the envelope, leave the money in the car, go into the 7-Eleven or something real quick, come out. They done smashed the window and took the envelope. That's going on, right? You're gonna see that, man. You know, you're going to see a rise in carjackings. You're going to see a rise in home invasions. That's what's going to happen as it gets worse and worse and worse. You know, people are going to get desperate, and you're going to see a rise in crime, right? So keep your eyes open, right? This is what happens. This is what it was like when I was growing up, bro. You stay on your tippy toes. You keep your head on the swivel, man, because there's people out there trying to eat, bro, because they done lost everything. And they figure, well, I might as well go out here and take it. And if I get caught, I'm just going to go to prison. They're ready to do that. They don't realize, well, if I get caught, you know, they might get aired out, but they ain't even thinking about that. And to them, it's like, well, death can't be worse than what I'm living now. So they okay with that. So just be careful. There are so many scams out there, man. Next time we come on here, we'll talk about some of these scams that are going on. You know, and of course, don't download anything and don't open any links that you don't recognize, man, even if it comes from somebody you know. If you get a link saying DL Saint wants to send you this link, bro, I ain't sending nobody no links, right? If someone says, hey, DL Saint, I'm DL Saint, man, can you send me $2? I'm in Colombia and, you know, someone stole my money or whatever. That's not me, right? That's not me. And it's happening with people who are, you know, more famous, but folks are looking, bro. They're looking, they're stealing people's Instagram accounts. They're trying to steal, like hacking to your cloud and all this kind of stuff, man. So just be careful, you know, use all kind of, you know, verifications and all that, 3-4 steps verifications on everything. Change your passwords periodically. Just understand it's going to get a lot worse, man. So that's it. That's all I got. My bad. I know I was running on at the lip a little bit there, but I think it's really important that you guys understand that crime is about to go up. Petty crime especially. People, you know, they're going to be out here trying to scam you out of 50 cents. because they need that 50 cents. All right. So that's it. That's all I got, man. Thanks for rocking with me. I'm DL Saint, man. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. I might be back tonight. We might talk a little bit of some red pill stuff tonight. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.